Welcome back to the What About Mom podcast, where we go beyond surface level advice and into the real, raw, and radical work of healing, evolving, and reclaiming your identity as a woman and a mother. I'm your host, Jessica London, doctor of physical therapy, pelvic floor specialist, mom to two, and founder of Your Postpartum PT and Wellness. This show is your space for bold conversations, practical tools, and powerful reminders that when mothers heal, so does the world. So whether you're rebuilding their strength, finding your voice, or rising into the woman and mother you're becoming, you are in the right place. Let's dive in. Welcome back, mamas. Today, we are going to be talking all about the differences of asking for support from your partner, from your spouse, from a friend, versus asking for permission. So, what am I actually talking about? Let me kind of kick it old school with you. It is so easy for women to be able to dismiss themselves, to dismiss their needs, their desires, their wants, the changes that they need, and their mental health, their physical health, their well being. And this is for a very real reason. It wasn't too long ago that our grandmothers couldn't even open a bank account with a husband or a man's signature. And this was only in 1974 when the Equal Credit Opportunity Act came into place. So no wonder our mothers and our daughters are having to learn how to ask nicely and not having their power of being able to make their own decisions and knowing how to use their voice and knowing how to take radical responsibility over a conversation that they really deeply want something, need something, desire something. We are still at this point in the generational pass down, learning how to properly, effectively, and kindly, clearly communicate our needs as women and as mothers. So, my hope with this episode is to really help bridge the generational gap to make this generation of women and mothers and invite our grandmothers and our parents and our daughters into this transition point where we're able to say, women's voices matter, mothers' voices matter, and also help you guys develop the skill set to be able to activate this own inner dialogue and communication pattern yourself. So it is going to be a bit of a riff at times, but it is also going to be extremely helpful. I'm going to provide frameworks and communication frameworks for you to help learn, to help reframe our belief systems, to help you practice, because that's really what it's going to be, to help you practice asking for what you need in terms of asking for support, not permission, to our husbands, to our spouses, to our partners, friends, family members, whatever it might be. All right. So let's dive into why women and mothers do this. And I want to just kind of paint the picture a little bit first. And maybe you're like, I don't do that, but let me just really paint a picture. I'm going to paint a few different scenarios of things I've heard directly from women, taking hundreds and hundreds of inquiry calls for our Pelvic Floor and Core Restore program, where we help moms heal their pelvic floors and rebuild their core during pregnancy and postpartum. Obviously, I can leave the links below, but if you don't know already, we own Your Postpartum PT and Wellness. And this gives me the opportunity to conversate with hundreds, if not thousands and thousands of women at this time. I had thousands and thousands of conversations with mothers and really hearing them battle through their deep desire to wanting to join a program or to start something for themselves and taking that radical responsibility and ownership, but really struggling to know how to effectively and clearly communicate their desires, their needs to their spouse. And hearing many, 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 many times, hundreds of times, women saying, I can't make a decision without talking to my husband. I need to ask him if I can do this. And in that moment, it's like, oof, I mean, I am all here for partners supporting each other, partners being on the same page financially. So don't get it twisted. That's not at all what I'm saying of just go spend all your family's money. But what I am saying is those words that we just shared there have so much weight and power of you playing the victim versus you playing an integral part of the community. But then you might be thinking, well, I'm in air quotes as I'm doing this, just a stay at home mom, I don't make any money. My husband makes all the money. So I can't make this decision, this financial decision. And to that, I also want to say, I hope that quote unquote, just because you're a stay at home mom does not mean that you deserve anything less than a financial partner that is bringing in the 3D financial income into that household because the role that you are providing as a stay-at-home mom is so incredibly important that deserves to be compensated if you ask me. You should be getting some sort of a salary, a monthly salary. And I don't want to go too off on tangent on this, but just that thought alone of like women and mothers staying at home so they don't have any say in where finances go. They also, it's kind of a dangerous slippery slope to also not fully understand how the finances are moving in and out of the household. And in my personal belief, it's really important for both the woman and the man, the partners to be able to be on the same team, to know where the finances are at, to know what budgets look like, to know what you can invest. And truthfully, if you are staying home, you are saving, thousands of dollars in childcare costs. If to outsource, my kiddos are in a private Montessori program. We pay $2,400 a month at the time of recording this to have my kiddos in there. And so if I were to stay at home with them for majority of the time, mama's got to earn a paycheck of some kind too, so I can have my own spending money, right? So one, I'm just sidebar. That's really important. But two, when we outsource our opinion, our belief, our permission to taking these decisions and putting them on our husband to make these decisions, that is really outsourcing our own responsibility that we need to take as women and mothers over our own lives. And you've probably heard me say this, if not 100 times by now, if you followed the podcast or, on our Instagram channel or our communities, what we speak, see, and believe as women and mothers are directly being intertwined to what our children will speak, see, and believe for themselves. So if we are raising daughters and we want them to have a voice and we want them to advocate for themselves and we want them to own their own unique needs, desires, and opinions, we also have to start with us as the mother owning that responsibility as well. And that can look like you bringing it to a support partner in a completely different framework communication pattern versus this. Let me picture that. Let me kind of paint the picture for you. So let's kind of, imagine it's a Thursday night and you just talk to me about joining the program. You really want to, you're peeing your pants. You are really dealing with huge, like, pains and you can't care for your children the way you want to care for them. You can't play with them the way you want to play with them. It's really affecting your confidence, your mental and emotional bandwidth for yourself. And it's really, shaking your identity up a little bit with all of the things that you're struggling with. And you really have desires and needs to feel more confident in your body to solve the pelvic floor and core issues that you're dealing with. And you need to, talk to your spouse or your partner about joining the program. I'm just going to paint the picture this way and I'll paint it another way for another scenario. And let's say it's Thursday night, kids are finally asleep, and you say to your partner, "Hey, so I talked to this gal today about her program and I really, how I've been like, how I like we kind of joke that I pee my pants and when I cough or sneeze and I can't jump on the trampoline with the kids, you kind of know, yeah, ha, 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 right? Downplaying it like it's not really a huge issue that you're totally upset about. And you say, do you think it would be okay if we invested in this program? It might be a little bit more of an investment. We would have to, look at the budget. Would it be okay if I did this? And if not, it's fine. I can kind of try to keep looking around, or maybe I'll try a different option. This is not the way. I'm going to stop it right there. This is not the way to clearly, confidently communicate your desires, your needs, and your expressed emotions, how you are actually really feeling, and being honest with yourself and your partner about what your desires are. Meanwhile, the whole stinking time that you're kind of dancing around, wondering if it's okay, asking for their permission, your entire body is screaming at you, I need this. I want to do this so bad. I remember crying on that call with Jessica and her team and expressing to them so much that I wanted to work with them. And you really wanted to do this. And you just know your full body intuition says yes. And you really need this. You really want this. You feel like this is the right support for you. But yet you end up backpedaling and being submissive, and you end up downplaying the importance of everything that you felt prior and asking for permission, not support. This can just be out of habit and something that we have just been conditioned to learn from our parents or our grandparents. And just like I mentioned earlier, like the system really not giving women a voice until later in life. And so, we are honestly learning how to do this, and it's really time for us to reclaim our voice as mothers and take radical ownership and responsibility over our desires, our health, our well being, and really slash this people pleasing tendency to try to just be quiet and keep the peace and put everyone else in front of us, our children, our husband, whatever it might be in front of us. So, when we think about a conversation like that, something that you're bringing to your support partner, we need to flip the script on asking for support, not permission. And when we approach our partners in that way of like, do you think it's okay if I do this? If it's not, no big deal, I can reschedule, right? Like maybe you want to go out to dinner with your girlfriend. Hey, do you think Sarah asked me if I could go out to dinner with her, and I know we're super busy, and do you think you could maybe put the kids for bed down on Tuesday so I can go out with my girlfriends? But no big deal if like work is too stressful and I can rearrange if I need to. Like, wow, let's stop right there again. We really do need clear frameworks in the beginning as we are unlearning these tendencies to communicate in these patterns that kind of dance around what we're actually needing and asking for, that kind of use soft language and maybe do you think, what are your thoughts are on, right? And it's not to say that we do want your support partner's opinion, we do want their support, but it's all in how we communicate them, with how we make the ask, with how we ask for their support, not their permission, right? We are not 16 anymore asking to take our parents' car out with our friends. Like, we are grown women and mothers needing to get really clear on our needs and our well being and those requests that are true for us, and just learning how to communicate them better. Okay. So, as we are learning to decondition our internal programs that have been passed down generation to generation, we are able to make better, clear, more appropriate asks and decisions for ourselves as we take ownership and as we take radical responsibility over our own lives as individuals. And it is tricky, right? Because especially that transition, maybe you found yourself in this pattern only after you had children. Maybe you were like, I've always asked for my needs. I've always been able to pay for what I wanted. I've always been able to invest in the things that I've desired, or go to, out to dinner with a girlfriend. But once I became a mother, things changed. So this is where, we'll see a lot of these identity shifts happen from womanhood to motherhood, where maybe you've always had your own finances and you never had to worry about this, but now you've made the family decision for you to stay home, and that's what you really greatly desire and need. But what that means is that you don't have the financial income coming into your name. So you all of a sudden feel not worthy of asking for the household's finances because you didn't, quote unquote, earn it. And like I said before, staying at home, you earned it. You deserve a paycheck. So figure out a partner solution there to get you some consistent money flowing into your love account, your personal account, because you also deserve a paycheck, in my opinion, right? But I do think it's also appropriate to have these discussions. Maybe you're pregnant, you're anticipating becoming a mother. Start having these discussions now on what it would look like to talk about finances, to invest in your health and your well being and your little solo Target shopping trip, your pelvic floor and your core rehab, your dinners out with a girlfriend, your pedicure that makes you feel loved and supported and cared for, and you just love to get that. But somehow, when we become mothers, we all of a sudden just let go of all of those things and all of those maybe patterns that we used to have because we're now shifting that identity to a mother. And all we've ever known is that mothers get put on the back burner. All we've ever known and been taught and learned is that mothers don't advocate for their needs, that mothers come last. And that's the whole point of this podcast. What about mom? What happened to mom? Let's make sure that we're not losing mother's identity. Let's make sure that we're keeping that in contact close to you. And yes, we will evolve. The evolution from womanhood to motherhood is so incredibly beautiful and hard and unraveling and transformative. It is wild, the transition that happens internally, externally. Our priority shifts, our identity is shifting, but it doesn't mean that you are any less worthy of an investment back into yourself as a woman and as a mother, forgetting that you are a critical person in this family dynamic that we need on tip top shape, that we need in her best mental and emotional health, that we need in her best physical health so that she can continue to pour into those children, that she can continue to be that incredible support partner to her spouse, so that she can continue to be a friend. And this is where it's so easy to lose ourselves in motherhood because we keep outsourcing our power, our desires, our needs, our wants. And then we start this permissive asking of permission, not support. So, my advice to anyone who's pregnant, going to become a mom, don't forget yourself in this transition. Make it a priority to have those communication channels open before you deliver. And also be aware of continuously being reminded and having your support partner remind you to not forget to keep choosing yourself and the things that you want to do, even if it's just to run to the grocery store by yourself because you need a little bit of a break. And how do I ask for that? And how do I get that support? All the way to investing in a pregnancy or postpartum rehab and strength training program so that you feel your best physical, emotional, mental health self. It's time to let go of the good girl conditioning and being agreeable and being rewarded to self sacrifice, because self sacrifice leads to self abandonment. And we're just going to go with the flow and be easy and put everybody else's needs above our own. And that is the permission slip, or that is the gateway to completely losing ourselves and our identity in motherhood because we keep outsourcing our needs, our desires, and everything like that. That's where illness and stress and builds. This is where burnout comes from. And this is where we don't want to teach and pass that on to our daughters and to our children, that that's the way that mothers deserve to be treated and supported. And I'm going to be honest with you, majority of the time when you meet your spouse, your support partner with clear communication, your support partner wants you to feel your best self. They actually don't have it out for you, but it's just your inability to know how to ask for it, to know that you're worthy to receive it, to know that you are worthy of the investment, the time, the energy, that whatever you desire is. Your support partner actually wants you to be your best self. They actually want you to thrive as the mother of their children, as the mother of the household. They want you to thrive. You also have to believe that you're worthy of thriving in order for them to be able to see you in that light as well. People only meet us and see us in the way that we see ourselves. I know that's listen to that again if you need to, but people will only see us in the light that we see ourselves. So as we start to see ourselves as worthy and deserving of whatever time that we need for ourselves, whatever investment we need for ourselves, we get better at communicating that. But as women and mothers are learning, part of my soul mission and my belief that I feel really drawn to. And again, this is why this podcast exists, is part of my soul's mission is to help mothers activate the remembering of their worth, their values, their desires, of receiving the support, the care, the love, the guidance that they need that matters, and to help mothers activate their voice to be able to be expressed through communication and taking radical ownership and responsibility over their lives, and to get out of the victimhood, to get out of the passing of the baton, not me, not my turn, not my time. And of course, motherhood takes sacrifice, don't get me wrong. We have to be able to do the dance. Yes, absolutely. But when we do it for too long, it leads to burnout, resentment, anger. It leads us to feel like we're not worthy, we're not deserving, and we lose our identity when we outsource too much and we pour into every single person but ourselves. So my invitation for you is to remember that you also are very important. Your needs, your desires, your physical body, your mental and emotional health is worthy of the time that you need for yourself as a break, for a night out, for a weekend away with the girls, for an investment into a program that's going to help you feel confident to rebuild your pelvic floor and core. You are worthy of that. So let's dive into some communication strategies and frameworks to help you build the tools, because I don't believe that women inherently are trying to self-sabotage their life. I just believe that they weren't given the tools to be able to know how to advocate for themselves, to be able to ask for support, not rely on asking for permission, right? So let's kind of do a quick, definition and core reframe. Permission says you hold the power. I'll await on your verdict. Outsourcing permission to somebody else is that it's their decision. It's on them. I will wait to see what this other person says that I can do for my body, my well-being, my whatever it needs. Support, asking for support says I own my decision. Let's plan the logistics of it, the financial means of it together so everybody wins, so that I can take care of what I need for myself to make sure that my cup is full and I'm pouring from a full cup. But also, support is saying, let's work as this together so that everybody wins. Let's figure out the logistics. Let's get creative with the finances. Let's have the communication and the discussion of what that is going to look like so that I could still get what I need, but also I'm being mindful of the family's needs as well. So we're kind of thinking about it as like, here's what I'm committed to for myself. Here's my truth. Here's what I need. This is what I know what will help me thrive as a woman and as a mother in this role. And here's what I'm going to need from you as a support partner. It's an invitation for the partner to come alongside you, not permission outsourced to an authority figure that's going to make the yes or no decision for you, right? That's really what we're talking about here, support versus permission. So I have two frameworks for you today. First is the framework of nonviolent communication. This is actually from a psychologist named Marshall Rosenberg that was created to really strip away the judgment, to name the deeper need, and to invite collaboration between partnerships, not blame or pointing fingers. Okay, so the first step of nonviolent communication through this particular framework is observing, right? The first thing is observing. So let's use this as an example. Maybe you have been wanting to get onto a workout routine and you believe that night times are the best for you, or let's say you actually believe that mornings are the best for you, that you guys have, figured out, worked as a team. Mornings are the best for you. Now, let's say mornings are getting a little crazy. The kids are starting to wake up earlier and you're not able to get to your workouts as consistently as you wanted to. You really just need 30 minutes 3 times a week to be able to commit to your workout because that's something that's important to you. And you have been kind of sliding on that because the kids are getting up earlier, their kids need you, and maybe that's like the struggle at the moment, right? So you're observing that the kids are waking up earlier. Then you're going to name the feeling. So when you are not getting your workouts in consistently, how does it make you feel? Does it make that how it, working out helps with your mental and emotional health? It makes you anxious, or it makes you feel like you're getting caught from behind on the day, especially if you're at home with them all day, or you've got to go to work yourself. So, go to a job yourself and you're not getting that time to yourself in the morning. Then comes the need. This is what you're getting really clear on and asking. And then afterwards becomes the request. This is the ask, right? So observe, feeling, need, request. So, observation when you come to collaborate with your partner can look like what I'm noticing is that now that it's the summertime, the kids are starting to wake up earlier and earlier. And when that happens, I'm starting to feel like I'm not able to get my workout in, and that's really important to me because when I don't get my workout in, I start feeling like my mental and emotional health slips. I'm really trying to work on my physical body and caring for my body and having that time for myself. So, what I really do need is just 30 minutes 3 times a week. Can we find 3 days a week where you're able to be with the kids, be there in the morning when they wake up? And mom can have that 30 minutes 3 times a week. Could we do Monday, Wednesday, Friday? Does Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday work best? How can we find the time so that I can just have 3 times a week, 30 minutes to be able to really pour into myself through my physical routine? So here we got the observation, the feeling, the need, and the request. This isn't like being passive about it, where a lot of women I see getting into like passivity of like, oh my gosh, the kids are always waking up early. I just can't get to my workouts. And that's it. There isn't the feeling, the need, or the request in a clear manner. Or it's just, I'm just not able in time. Like it just stresses me out when I'm not able to get to my workouts and I invested in this program and now I can't do it. And it's just been so tough, especially if your partner is a male. Like it's so important for us to be able to clearly label the feeling, the need, and the request together. Okay. So that is one framework you can use. Another framework is the win statement. And this is about boundary setting and expressing yourself in a simple way. Think of WIN as the framework number 2. W stands for what do I need? I stands for the impact it has on me if it happens. And N is next step. So it kind of follows a similar pattern. What do I need? What is the impact? And what is the next step? So I'm going to use investing because I know this is where we hear a lot of like, let me ask my husband or let me ask my spouse if I can invest. Like this is where the financial one gets big. Is I'm going to use this as an example. Maybe you really want, new jeans. Maybe you want to invest into a program. Maybe you want to invest into, lab work or whatever it might be. Let's actually utilize this one for not time, but finances. So what do you need? I'm going to use our program as an example because I think it's easy for us. And I hear like hundreds and hundreds of times this conversation. And part of my job is walking through how to have that supportive conversation with their spouse. So, W, what do I need? I, impact of what that would mean to me. And N, next steps. So, instead of meeting your partner with, hey, I've been thinking about doing this program. I like really struggle with this. And this is the investment. And I know it's an investment, but do you think I can do it? Would that work out with our budget? Instead, what do I need? Hey, hubby, I don't know if you've know this, but I've really been struggling with my pelvic health. I've been leaking. I've been having pain when we've been intimate, and I'm just feeling really not confident in my body. It's really affecting my mental and emotional health. And so I feel like I really need to commit some time and finances to solve this so that I can feel better. And I know that if I can invest into a program that I believe in that will help me get better, the impact that it will have on me and my mental emotional health, my physical health, I believe it will have a good impact on the children, and my stress levels will go down. I don't think I'll be as short-tempered with them because I'm getting my needs met. And I really think it will also help our intimacy as well. I think it will help my confidence in the bedroom. I think it will help how I show up for you as well, knowing that I'm being taken care of in the way that I really feel like my needs are needing right now. So here's kind of the next step in the process. I talked to these gals, they're amazing. They have this program. This is the price to invest. to be able to meet me to solve the needs that I just shared with you. What is the best way for us to be able to afford this? Because I really do feel like this is the best program and the next step for me to solve it. How can we make this work for our family? And what do you think? How can we work together to make this happen? That is very different than asking for permission. Can I do this program? Can I invest into a new pair of jeans? And girlfriends, like, when is the last time you brought new bras and underwear for yourself? A long time, probably. We constantly like are putting ourselves on the back burner, right? So with this framework, the WIN framework, it allows you to identify very clearly what is the need, what is the impacts that it will have on you and others, and what are the next steps that you guys need to do to figure out together this next step for the support of you. Okay. I'm going to wrap up pretty quickly here. I hope this has been so helpful, providing really practical and tangible frameworks. But what I really want you to know is clear is kind. Clear is not rude. Clear is kind, especially if you match your tonality with it and it is met from a place of kindness and love and support versus blaming or bickering. I never get to do this. You never let me. You never support me, right? Clear is kind. So just yank out any of the filler words that we use when we're feeling a little bit permissive, if you will, where just maybe, sorry to bug you, but do you think I can? I just really want to, right? Be clear, be direct, be straightforward, be confident. Take some breaths if you need to before, if you're feeling nervous, because I know a lot of women have a hard time asking for their needs. Take some breaths, clear is kind, be confident in the way that you communicate, and really encourage you to also express how the thing is affecting you and how it will impact you and why you need the support, not permission. Okay. I hope this has been helpful. I hope this has helped just one of you maybe practice on like, a night out with your girlfriends versus like a week trip away first. And if you want to keep practicing on this to really slash the people pleasing, the conditioning that we have been hearing over and over that women are not supposed to ask for their needs. They're just supposed to, be good little girls and people please and support everybody else but ourselves. And I'm here to help women and mothers reclaim their voice, their worthiness, their desire to advocate for themselves and their needs. And I believe in you. You got this.